Welcome, my friends. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. We are live. It is the 6th day of June, 2010, and we're going to be live here for the next 2 hours with the abbreviated Sunday broadcast. Of course, so we come back weekdays, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central. That's 12 noon to 4 p.m. Eastern. I want to thank everybody for joining us. 3 or 4 days ago, huge guest that my producers snagged. Now it's all over ABC News, Wall Street Journal, New York Times. They're struggling to spin it, but they're not having a lot of success. And we've got Deborah Cohen, features editor of the British Medical Journal, one of the most, if not the most prestigious medical journal in the world. She'll be joining us coming up in the next hour. World Health Organization and the pandemic flu. And it deals with the fact that they're just confirming what Wolfgang Wodarg of the EU Commission broke here 6 months ago, that the big vaccine makers paid off government officials in Europe, England, and the U.S. to come out and lie to the public to scare them into taking the deadly vaccine. And this is now the British Medical Journal and hundreds of other mainstream publications caught red-handed. This is important because before you know it, we'll be in another flu season with a biological/chemical attack being run against free humanity. And we already had record low amounts of people take the seasonal and the H1N1 shot, both the seasonal and the special flu for this upstart flu that appeared in the wrong hemisphere, wrong time of year, obviously genetically engineered, designed to scare virologists who looked at it. But they also reported in the major medical journals out of Canada and Europe that people more than doubled their chances of getting the H1N1 if they'd taken the seasonal flu shot. And why is that? Well, it just so happens that they were putting, quote, marker viruses or test attenuated viruses, simulants was the exact term, in the regular seasonal flu shot. I mean, I laugh because it's so sickening. There's no end to the depths of the evil that comes from these people. And we had all the documents, we had all the research, we had all the experts at the time. And a lot of people did listen because record low numbers of people took the regular seasonal. And so you had record low numbers of people with these, quote, novel flu coming down with it. And the media got caught lying about deaths. They would take some 85-year-old heart patient who'd had both legs amputated with diabetes, and they would die, and they would just say it was the H1N1. Or there'd be some child who'd already had chemotherapy and was on the verge of death. I mean, I saw hundreds of these cases who they would then say died of the H1N1. And sometimes they were positive for the H1N1, but were compromised. But more often than not, you'd see a month later, oh, that was a false positive. They didn't die of that. They had the regular flu. The regular flu does kill around 35,000 people a year in North America, so it's not something to play games with. But the problem is, in the last 7, 8 years that I've seen, they've never guessed the right different combo of mutations of regular seasonal flu. They'll have 3 or 4 different variants, sometimes more in the shot. They've never guessed it right. So it's never protected anyone. It's just completely fake. Now, could there be good vaccines for, say, smallpox or polio? Could there be good vaccines for spinal meningitis? Could there be? Yes. But you can't trust this elite, 90+% of the vaccines now being made in China, just because they don't care and are sloppy, A, but B, they're a bunch of eugenicists who are always talking about population reduction, and they've been caught over and over again tainting and spiking the vaccine. So I already went off the deep end on that rant. In about 55 minutes, she'll be joining us. We're going to come back and get into all of the incredible news today, my friends. This is a very important broadcast. Please call your friends and family. Tell them to tune in right now on the local AM and FM dial or Infowars.com. We're also live at PrisonPlanet.tv. Live listeners tuning in and people watching this later archived at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv or on YouTube or the Drudge Report, who is now linking to us on a weekly basis. For whoever is tuning into the live radio show or for whoever is dialing into a podcast, I really do hope that you will pay particular attention to today's transmission. We do have Deborah Cohen, features editor of the British Medical Journal, joining us for 30 minutes in the first half of the second hour today, because the information that is documented in the British Medical Journal, and it's a lengthy report, proves conclusively that governments, media, and academia and top health officials were paid off by the big vaccine makers to lie and create a mass hoax to scare the public into taking the H1N1 vaccine. So that is coming up today in the first 30 minutes of the second hour. Vital, vital information. Now, in the meantime, let me just mention the stacks of news here I have in front of me. BP chief Tony Hayward sold shares weeks before oil spill. His biggest sale ever. He sold over a third of his stock. Now, you dovetail that with Goldman Sachs dumping 44% and then subsequently even more. Now it's more than half. Or millions and millions of shares of their BP stock in the days before. Very, very suspicious. We'll be talking about that a little bit later in the transmission today. Also, Israeli forces board Gaza aid ship, the Rachel Corrie. She was a activist in Palestine run over by an Israeli bulldozer. So that's what the ship's named after. And they boarded that without any violence, reportedly. So I guess that's a good thing that nobody was hurt. But Israel is certainly having a PR disaster with this worldwide, so we'll get more into that. Obviously, we've had a big victory against the global government. If you went back just 5 years ago, you might have seen 5 or 6, 7, 8, maybe a dozen mainstream news articles worldwide every year when the Bilderberg Group would meet in secret. You go back past a decade ago, I've had the New York Times attack yours truly and say, Bilderberg doesn't exist. I am insane. There is no world government. Elites don't meet. The highest level of power is presidents and prime ministers. Go back to sleep. Nothing to see here. Move along. Move along. These aren't the droids you're looking for. And now it's in the Wall Street Journal. It's in the New York Times. It's all over the Drudge Report. The Drudge Report's linking to our articles throughout the week when we pointed out that Bill Gates was in attendance. And we're just doing our job. It was in the German, the Dutch, and the Swiss, as well as the Spanish news, that Bill Gates was caught sneaking into the country, got caught by the media, and admitted he was there for the Global Government Summit, basically calling for population reduction. He was there calling for global carbon taxes and forced inoculations and things like that. But so I see it confirmed in foreign press that Bill Gates is there, and I say, I think people are going to be interested in the fact that he's scurrying around over there. So with the Queen of the Netherlands and the representatives of the British royalty and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, I am going to have one of my writers write an article about this. I am going to put a story out, and then it gets linked on Drudge and gets conservatively around 1 million readers. Now, you don't, I mean, you know the mainstream media isn't stupid. They know what the people want. They know the people want to know about these secretive groups. If you had 150 top golfers meeting in secret, there'd be 30 or 40 helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, thousands of reporters. They want to know what was going on inside the hotel for 4 days. If you had 150 of the most powerful people in Hollywood meeting in secret, you'd have scores of helicopters and literally hundreds of reporters. But you get 150 presidents, prime ministers, central bank heads, royalty together, and we've broken in, we've stolen documents, we've ferreted it out, myself, Jim Tucker, and many others, and we come out and say, Obama is going to be the president, Hillary will step down in 2 days, and it happens. Or they're going to attack Iraq in 2003 in March, not in March of '02, as the media was saying they were. Because we literally risk our lives to bring you this type of information. I've been arrested and detained for 15 hours in Canada, and that's in the London Guardian. They arrested a bunch of people in Spain. You get followed around by men in dark sunglasses. They break into your hotel rooms. Some of the reporters, like Tucker, have been shot at. This isn't a game, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why am I going over all this? The good news is the electronic Berlin Wall is down. And we confirmed from the London Guardian's report, and they got thrown out, by the way. On the day the resort was closing, they were already there, and they eavesdropped and overheard the head of the Bilderberg group. That is the head minion, the head organizers, and they had badges that said it. And I've been inside the start of a Bilderberg. You know, they all do wear the badges color-coded: blue, red, green, black.